Yogesh, can you start it live streaming now, please?
Yes.
All right. We're ready to start, sir.
Sure, please. I was just going to introduce Abdullah and Hamad to the panel out here.
We are live, sir. Sorry.
We are live. Request you all to go on mute, please.
Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, friends. I am Deepak Balani, Director General of IPMA, and we welcome you to this very important webinar and digital conference on enhancing plastic exports from India. Exports are incredibly important to modern economies because they offer people and firms many more global markets for their goods and not only their locals. Promotion of export is an important objective for any growing economy for many reasons, and one is to balance the trade deficit. The policy related to trade does play a significant role in this. The export of value-added plastic products is a huge opportunity for Indian manufacturers, and if they deploy right strategies, they can increase their manufacturing competitiveness while ensuring high quality. I think they can have a very bigger market, especially in the global uh, stage. For such a huge industry like plastic processing, as I said, exports play a very vital role in adding to the success of the respective businesses. India has exported almost $8 billion of worth of plastics in FY19, making it the 17th largest plastic export in the world, and out of around 600 billion export market. So we are still at a very minuscule stage, but we have a huge potential, and our endeavor, APMA's endeavor, is always to try and help the industry so that Indian plastic processing industry can increase its market share in the global market. So with this, I welcome you to this very important webinar. Let me first begin by introducing our resident IPMA, Mr. Chandrakant Turakia. He is president of IPMA. He has also held various portfolios in IPMA. He was vice president, senior vice president, VP finance, and many more portfolios. He is currently, as I said, the president and managing all affairs of growth and development of IPMA, along with a very senior office bearers team. So I would request our president, Shri Chandrakant Turakia, to give his welcome address. You are on mute.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am honored to have the opportunity to welcome the eminent dignitaries and our participant present over here and sincerely express my gratitude to DP World to have organized this webinar in collaboration to IPMA. Today's session on enhancing plastic export from India appears to be one of a kind session with unmatchable significance for the industry. There is no better time for the plastic industry to look at this area. I believe this subject is a need of an hour's topic which need immense attention and will work as a trade and development opportunity for the plastic sector. I would wholeheartedly like to welcome today's panelist, Mr. Abdullah bin Damidhan, Chief Commercial Officer, DP World UAE Region, Dr. Raju Desai, Director, Jyoti Plastic, past President, IPMA, Mr. Ahmad, Head of Strategic Account, Mr. Hemant Minocha, Director, Raju Plastic Limited. Thank you for sparing your precious time and agreeing to share your value, knowledge, and experience with us to understand a topic so rare with clarity. Thank you. I hope you have a productivity session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrakant Turakia, for your welcome address. May I now welcome and introduce our Shri Mr. Arvind Mehta. Mr. Arvind Mehta is the chairman of Governing Council IPMA. He is also the past president IPMA, past president of Plast India Foundation, executive director of Council of International Plastic Association, director SIPAT. He is a very successful entrepreneur himself. He is the managing director of Wellset Plast Extrusion, one of the leading manufacturers of master batches. Arvind Bhai, as we lovingly called him, is a visionary with clarity of thoughts, very hardworking, openness to other views, and his ability to get along with once and almost all important people, and his desire to learn new things. Traveled. So may I now request Arvind Bhai, Arvind Mehta, to give his address.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak, and good evening, everybody, and greetings to one and all. We are highly obliged, or we are very happy that DP World and international dignitaries are with us and on this subject, and we are definitely marching rather I would call it. For your information, through DP World and like that many of our entrepreneurs are thinking of setting up the business there. That is one of the good news for you, and this just to tell, and so it's okay. Now let us come to the point. That is greetings to all. It gives me immense pleasure to grace all of your presence in the interest of entire committee. It is an opportune moment to refurbish and debate upon the problems of mutual interest with our esteemed delegates for the day. The seminar schedule brushes upon the spectrum of exciting and benefiting themes that discuss the enhancing plastic exports from India. Just again in between, I tell you that today we are doing this webinar along with our PlastiWorld exhibition, virtual exhibition, that is packaging. And till in the afternoon, means after 4 hours of opening, 5 hours of opening, we have around 5,000 registered visitors visiting us. So that is a great point for us with the 110 exhibitors and like that. So looks to be quite a good business model. Looks like that. This is our first venture. So just that was the information. Export is a very important aspect in terms of growing our business needs. Plastic manufacturers in India are examining ways to increase exports, overcoming the strong headwinds they have been facing. Though India has big manufacturers, they account for less than 1% market share in more than 800 billion global export market for plastics. As Deepak already said, so India is the 17th largest exporter in the world, and we are growing at the rate of 11% per year. So I strongly believe that there is a need of a step ahead to keep the business going, and there would never be a better time to grab opportunity to go global, benefit the plastic sector like never before. Today's webinar will help and provide guidance to the participants on how to bridge the gap between India and the world, and will help the plastic industry in enhancing their manufacturing and exports. It will help nurture bilateral trade, drive cross-border investment, facilitate and access to larger market and wider consumer base, and reduce barriers to trade, and many more. I would like to appreciate the efforts of the DP World in their positive motive to be essential to building the bright future of global trade. The webinar Enhancing Plastic Exports from India will provide an ideal platform. Learn more about the initiative and grow your business globally. There must be many other questions arising in your mind regarding this and required clarity. Our digital conference today seeks insights from experts with global experience to clear and answer all your doubts and give more insight on the significance of this topic holds for you, me, and industry. A warm welcome to all our experts today. We are glad to have you with us today. Thank you. I hope this session fulfills your expectation and deliver you even more. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Arvind Mehta, for your address and also setting the context. You have beautifully introduced and set the ground for this webinar and also the important aspect of what should be done in terms of export. So thank you, Arvind Bhai, for your address. I would now like to welcome Mr. Abdullah bin Damethan. He's the Chief Commercial Officer, DP World UAE region. First of all, from IPMA side, we would like to thank DP World for being the event sponsor and also the partner for PlastiWorld. Mr. Abdullah bin Damethan has been with the DP World since 2001. He is a Chief Commercial Officer, as I have mentioned. Mr. Abdullah is responsible for all revenue generation activities, products and services offered across the portfolio, including ports and terminals, parks and zone, and trade enabling solutions. He is a recognized leader in the maritime and logistic landscape within the Middle East with commercial success across the maritime and logistic industries. His focus on innovation and customer centricity have been the core of his commercial strategy. Mr. Abdullah sits on the board of number of DP World ports and terminals globally, and also is an independent director in logistics venture. So I would request Mr. Abdullah to deliver his keynote address.
Mr. Deepak, thank you very much for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and friends from IPMA. Although a bit late, but I would like to wish you all a very happy 2021. And hope you all had a great start for the year, and trust that you and your family are safe and healthy. And also I hope that the vaccination rollout is successful for all of us, so we can get back together and meet each other, not only virtual, but face to face. And I would like also to thank IPMA for connecting us together once again. And it's always indeed a pleasure to welcome you all on this platform after 3 months to discuss how we can enhance plastic export from India. The trade link between UAE and India date back to centuries, and we complement each other in our vision and our journey towards building a strong foundation and establishing new trade lanes. As you know, India is one of the UAE's largest trading partner in terms of volume, which is evident from the tremendous growth in trade from approximate 180 million US dollars to around 60 billion US dollars today. And definitely, this is going to progress towards an ambition target that's set by the government to 100 billion US dollars in the years ahead. So if you ask us, we believe that India will drive global trade post-COVID, as the subcontinent has a huge potential for growth. With this, I would like to emphasize that with Dubai being India's premium gateway to the world, new partnership and technology investment will enable India to rise above all the challenges and push forward. DP World, as a trade enabler, is always there to foster India's growth. And this is very much evidence in our commitment in investing 3 billion US dollars in India, which has started in 2018, in addition to 1.2 billion US dollar invested earlier in infrastructure, trade zones, ICDs, cold storage, and much more. So we intend to continue with our commitment to support India with this ambition by extending our support in supply chain, technology, and infrastructure development. The testimony of this, and which I'm very proud of, is the India-UAE Bridge. And we have really seen, even during a very difficult and challenging time, a very good and positive progress in this initiative, with promising opportunities from more business and trade between the two countries. Indians are the largest investors in Dubai and by far the #1 in Jebel Ali Free Zone. So thank you very much for all the support. And this is evidence of the strategic partnership that we have developed over many years between the two nations, extending support to each other to grow businesses. We have always encouraged Indian companies to establish their presence in UAE. And today, the process of setting up a company in Dubai is more customer-centric, making it very convenient for Indian businessmen to start small in UAE and grow big in the region. And trust me, I have a lot of companies who I have met personally, and they have started as small offices here in Dubai, and in particular in Jebel Ali Free Zone. And today they are one of the leading export companies operating from Jebel Ali Free Zone and making use of our facilities here from the port and the logistic capability. So we have a complete ecosystem, and we are very well positioned at every step of the supply chain to support you from the first to the last mile delivery. We do provide a complete network of buyers, sellers, supporting entities in plastic value chain, and you can avail benefits from the 350 logistic companies in Jebel Ali Free Zone. The Indian government commitment to promote and boost trade in this sector by bringing in modern technology and exploring new markets. And this is a clear indication on the plan and vision of India to emerge as a global manufacturing hub and enhancing export substantially. We are aligned with India's vision, and we at DP World are geared up for the future, where we see more potential cargo flow between India and UAE with the rest of the world. We aim to move beyond our comfort zone, to move beyond being asset developers and operators. We intend to facilitate the movement of goods, proactively contributing to the economy, growth, and prosperity of both India and UAE. On this positive note, I would like to introduce my colleague, Hamid Al-Saiq. Later on, he will be detailing more of our capabilities and effort to enhance plastic export from India. With this, I would like once again to thank you, Mr. Deepak, and all for their patience and for being with us here today and taking the time to be part of this discussion today. And wish you all a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah, for your address and the way you explained various features and also the infrastructure support and services support offered by DP World, which basically will ensure that the growth from India as far as the export is concerned is robust and increasing. So I think Mr. Hamad, in his address later during this webinar, will address this issue more in detail, and perhaps will give a wider detail to our audience. With this, thank you, Mr. Abdullah. May I now introduce to you our next speaker, a very senior person from the industry, Dr. Raju Desai. He is the Managing Director, Jyoti Plastic Works Private Limited. Dr. Raju Desai has also been the past president of IPMA. As I said, he is leading one of the very large company leading in injection and composite molding. Very old, it's almost more than 50-year-old. The firm was founded in 1959. He's a second generation management team expert in engineering and development, very highly respected in the industry. He is very well known in the industry for his clear thinking, planning, and business growth strategy, and his contribution to the plastic industry has been appreciated by everyone. So I would, without wasting much time, I would request Dr. Raju Desai to give his address with respect to challenges and opportunities for plastic exports from India. Raju bhai, over to you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you very much for a very elaborate introduction. You can just say I am a IPMA man, and that's all about it. That is one. Having said that, I take opportunity to thank respected Shri Chandrakant Bhai Turakia, President of All India Plastics, Shri Arvind Mehta, Chairman of National Advisory Board, IPMA, guests from DP World, Mr. Abdullah and Mr. Hamad, my good friend and mentor, Shri Ajay Desai, Chairman of PlastiWorld 2021, who has put up excellent virtual exhibition with the participation of 130 exhibitors and more than 13,000 registered visitors, out of which just Arvind Bhai mentioned that 5,000 have already visited virtually. The participants are from more than 70 countries world over. My compliments to the whole team led by Ajay Bhai and especially Director General Shri Deepak Balani, who has put a stupendous effort in making this show successful. Having said that, I am not here to deliver any lecture. I'm just kind of expressing my views in relation with Indian plastic export, Indian products which are being exported. So my opinion that India is positioned appropriately for becoming global supplier of plastic product of the world. This is due to mature processing industry supported by adequately available raw material and process of manufacturing. And all three segments which contributes to the growth, including processing, machinery, and raw material are available in India. However, there are certain deficiency in terms of the need of plastic exporting industry. In spite of these advantages, performance of Indian plastic industry in terms of export is not noticeable. And just Arvind Bhai said that we are 1% or around 1% in a global demand as far as the plastic products are concerned. As per me, there are many reasons for this. And most of the Indian plastic manufacturing units are comprising of first generation entrepreneur and are belonging into MSME industry, which are medium and small scale industry. This is why when they started their focus or when they started their industry, primarily their focus was local, then it becomes regional, and now they have reached up to the national level. And no one or most of them were not focusing or dreaming about export. Local demand is so much that it is good enough to keep everybody occupied in terms of booking their capacity. However, things are changing very fast in a near future, in a near past, that they are thinking about export and export opportunity. There are Plex Council chairman just mentioned last week in his post that Indian processors are not having level playing field in terms of infrastructure and policy. It may be partially true in terms of efficiency of systems, maybe transportation, process of export and import formalities, energy cost. However, in spite of this, Indian plastic manufacturers are successful in exporting. Scale of manufacturing is smaller than world size factory. So there is continuous conscious effort for export is not being made. Most of the processors are manufacturing do not speak the same language which overseas customer like to hear. I'm not talking in terms of English. I'm talking in terms of language, in terms of quality, efficiency, transparency, and sustainability. This is what overseas buyer like to hear from any of their supplier, not only Indian. I think if we have to be a successful in a export, we have to make a national strategy. We must study the requirement and demand from the national developed country like US, Europe, and prospective buyers. Do the Pareto analysis and find out what is contributing 20% of the total revenue in terms of import, and focus and find out where is our effectiveness lying. It's not just based on certain data you jump into that line, but we must do some analysis, find out our positioning, and then go after it. There is no harm following the successful model which some of the developed country, including China and Japan, has evolved. What I'm trying to say is that the size of manufacturers are small and they are divided. We can also think of going for cooperative export as an association, as a company, or as a industry. We can think of having collective storing, warehousing, and distribution network in developed country. There are so many things which can be possible, but first of all, we should have the desire to export. We must think and positively that we are going after this market. Once you decide, everything and anything is possible. If you say that the model what Japan followed, they had a trading company who were bunching all the small supplier and interacting them, not in terms of exporting their product, but helping them financially, helping them technologically, and helping them understand the demand and the language of the customer. After that, the Chinese have come, they have become more aggressive, and they have gone ahead and set up their distribution and warehousing system, and they were pulling material from China and distributing into US or any other country. These are the two successful models which I can see can be looked into. And I think the deficiency of infrastructure, I don't say deficiency, but we say we are a little slow in implementing our infrastructure in India. And the weakness what India is having is exactly addressed by DP World. And I've been hearing and part of some of the seminar. So what are the deficiency here? And that is why when Arvind Bhai said that many more export companies who are in export business are checking up the possibility of setting up their manufacturing unit overseas, and maybe Dubai and UAE will be their first choice. And these are the size of the company which are already having business in excess of $20 million for export. But we also have to have a strategy for meeting for the people who are having less than $20 million, less than $10 million worth of potential. So those people can be bunched together. Organization like Plex Council, EPMA can work together and see that the appropriate information can be collected, shared with processors, and encourage them to get into the export business seriously. So I think my experience is that Indian producers at large scale are very effective, not only in India, but they're also going abroad and setting up the plant, especially for packaging. Many of them have set up the plant even in UAE, and same thing is happening in US and Europe, and they are pretty successful in their venture. So as far as the efficiency and quality is concerned, if the appropriate environment is available, I think Indian manufacturers have proven themselves. So I think nothing to worry about that. So let's see, collectively, I think we should plan export as a goal. We should chase the market. There are a lot of good opportunity. For sure, as of now, India is the most cost-effective place for manufacturing. And people like us who are already in a sizable export market, we know that we are rightly placed as far as things are concerned. So that's from me. And thank you very much for inviting me, and wish you all the success for this seminar and exhibition. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Raju Desai. I would say what an enlightening speech by you. In fact, in 10 minutes, you covered almost every aspect of export business. I think nobody could perhaps do this kind of a justice, because in 10 minutes, you gave a complete SWOT analysis of Indian plastic industry in terms of especially highlighting what are the inherent strength of the Indian industry and some of the weaknesses which I think perhaps has to be looked into, and especially the opportunities for the Indian plastic industry vis-a-vis exports, which you highlighted. And the path, basically, I really liked the pitch which you made on the national strategy for exports. and especially with respect to cooperative export, and how can perhaps the industry can come together in terms of setting up warehousing and common distribution. And also you cited some of the case studies of Japan. So I think very well covered, and the piece of advice and wisdom which you provided is actually, you're well known for that. Beautifully, it's very crucial for the potential exporters from India, and especially in India when we have only around 2,500 or 3,000 exporters out of the 50,000 units we have. So I think if perhaps these are some of the strategies, if our industry could follow, I think world is a very big market. So thank you, Raju bhai, for a very enlightening address. So may I now welcome our next speaker, Mr. Hamad. Mr. Hamad has been working with DP World UAE region for more than 15 years in two major roles within the organization. He is currently heading strategy accounts team in the commercial department, and also looking after the strategic customers in DP World, and also for the customized solution development projects with JAPSA. So can I request Mr. Hamad to give his address specifically on how Indian industry could perhaps use this platform of DP World to enhance the exports from India.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deepak. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being with us again and allowing me some time here to share. I'm stepping in instead of my colleague, Mr. Ibtisam, who unfortunately is not feeling well today. So please excuse me for any hiccups. I don't have the same gentle voice or face as her, but I'll try to fill in as much as possible. I think, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the colleagues before me have highlighted the vast, I will say, strong relationship between UAE and India that goes back centuries ago, and across all fields, whether it's from tourism to culture to food and trade, most importantly. And over the past very few years, we saw this relationship grow to even higher strength from both sides. And I'm sure you're all aware of what the leaders from both nations have expressed, that this is the time to actually enhance our relationship, grow it to much higher levels, so that we can grow even more over the next centuries to go. So with that being said, between the UAE, obviously Dubai has always and will continue to be a very prime location for the Indian traders and businessmen, investors alike, as well as others, for the past reasons. One of them, I'm sure many of you have also I'm sure many of you have visited Dubai in the past, and I would like to invite any of you who have not to please come over and try the Dubai experience. It has many things to do with terms of infrastructure, pleasure, tourism, beaches, safety, as well as other things. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, what makes us a gateway to the UAE, as well as the region around us. It's because the UAE and Dubai specifically have invested significantly in the road, air, and sea infrastructure to allow goods to move and people to move in and out as smooth and fast and cost-effective as possible. That's why we have the most busiest airport. We have one of the most busiest ports around us. We have excellent infrastructure in terms of road, and there's also rail to come here, just to make sure that people and cargo can move as smooth as possible to wherever we can. Plus, having the safety to live and set up your investments or companies here and secure your future, your financial system, and repatriation of these funds and investment need. So these are just very simple, I'll say, keynotes of what Dubai has to offer, and I'm sure many of you know much more than what I just said and what Dubai can contribute. If we zoom a little bit closer to what we as DP World offer. Now, many of you might not be aware, but we as DP World are a global enabler of trade by operating in more than 50 countries around the globe. And if you look at the map in the presentation, you will see that we are focusing a lot on countries that are growing in terms of population, as well as natural resources and products to flow out of it. So you'll see a lot of focus on India, Africa, and Latin America, because this is where the growth is coming from to the years to come. We have handled more than 70 million TUs over the last, in 2019 from these 50 countries. And we're investing more and more into other logistics connectivity, whether it's free zones or logistics entities or manpower, just to make sure that you, as others, can trade and send your goods from your manufacturing hubs to your end customers as smooth and fast and cost effective as possible, because you understand that time is money. So I think our colleagues before me focus a lot on what opportunities are there. So here I would like to focus a little bit on what solutions and infrastructure we have in both sides, from the UAE part and from the India part, and how you guys can benefit from this. So just to give a little bit of a brief, from the Dubai side, we manage 3 ports in Dubai, which are Jebel Ali Port, which is the biggest port in the Middle East and between here and Asia. We have Mina Rashid and Mina Hamriya. We also manage 3 economic and free zones within Dubai, which is the Jebel Ali Free Zone and National Industries Park, which is a local industrial area, which are just adjacent to the port. And we have an Dubai Auto Zone, which is a free zone dedicated for the automotive cluster. Now we manage not only the free zone and the port, but we have all this managed through an online platform, which is called Dubai Trade. We try to manage whatever cargo that needs to come in, or setting up a license, or clearing your customs, or an online platform, as well as having a logistics arm, which can help in cases where you don't have direct presence here to support you in terms of clearing this cargo. From the India perspective, we also manage 6 terminals there, 2 free zones or industrial areas, as well as, I believe, multiple logistics solutions, where it comes into warehousing. We have our own warehousing ICDs. We have already tied up with 2 logistics providers, which is Continental and Winter Logistics, which can provide you warehousing solution, whether it's temperature controlled for food or general cargo, as well as rail racks, so that to make sure that cargo can flow from wherever you want to the port, and then from the port to whatever destination you can. And if it's, let's assume now you want to send things to Europe or Africa or wherever it is, we can show that for using our connectivity and solutions from India to Jebel Ali, and then from Jebel Ali to the rest of the world, you can address actually a majority of your challenges in terms of time, cost, and deliveries. And this is connected by the multiple feeder shipping lines we have already direct association with, which connect India and Dubai through feeder check and TransWorld. And this is just something we have in our direct control, whereas there's others as well available for you to choose from. But we are here to show you what we have and where we can provide you support to make sure that you have full control over your supply chain. So if I just want to focus a little bit here on what we have from the Dubai side, and then we'll focus a little bit more on what we have on the India side. If you look at Jebel Ali Port, it's actually, we have the capacity and capability to handle all types of cargo. And that's what makes us one of the biggest port operators. We can handle, we have the capacity to handle more than 50 million containers. We have the capacity to handle more than 1.4 metric square tons of general cargo, whether it's vehicles, bulk, break bulk, and we have all the necessary equipment and locations to address them equally. Adjacent to the port, you have the Jebel Ali Free Zone, as well as the National Industries Park, which is an adjacent land bank, which we offer to clients in order to develop the facilities they need so that they can do their business in the best possible manner, whether it's direct, so you don't need to be here from India, you can do, or if you want to manage your operations and logistics, we have the capabilities. And over the past 30 years, this, I will call ecosystem that have developed in this location has generated significant importance, not only to Dubai, but to the global presence. So just so you know, we contribute to almost 33% of Dubai GDP in terms of trade, employment, operations, and much more, which are go into more details as we move forward. If we look at the free zone aspect, we have the regulatory part, whereby we have enabled companies to set up with a lot of incentives, so you don't have to worry about your zero capital, so you don't have to worry about investing any capital. You can repatriate whatever capital, you can choose whatever employee from whatever country you want to employ. There is no restriction in terms of nationality or, I would say, designations. There is no there's guarantees of zero personal and corporate tax, 100% ownership, and much more to facilitate and secure your investments. Moreover, we have all the necessary infrastructure to support you, whether you need a small office to start off with, or a pre-built warehousing unit with specific designs or is temperature controlled or not, or block of land whereby you can actually construct your own factory or customized facilities to meet your specific requirements. And if not, we can also help you in developing this specific facility to meet your requirements and taking the burden of the capex, so you can focus more on the operations part. And then we have all the necessary infrastructure required to support that industry, whether it's from food courts, mosques, hospitals. Everything is available within this community to support your business. And over time, I'll say clusters of specific businesses have grown, whether it's food and beverage, automotive, chemicals, and much more, that support each other. So you find a lot of suppliers, customers, competitors, as well as value addition companies all around you. So that if you're not able to do something alone, someone here can help you complete that cycle. Whether it's logistics company, I think Abdullah highlighted that we have more than 350 logistics companies. Some are local, some are regional, some are even international to support you deliver that goods. We have a lot of manufacturing companies. We have a lot of supply chain that bring raw material or just dedicated in certain months. So we can always trade with your suppliers, customers, or competitors here within the zone. As I highlighted earlier, to manage this in a more, I would say, business-friendly environment and to cut out all the bureaucracy, most of our services, and we're talking about governmental services, we're talking about customs services, port services, free zone services, you can renew your license, you can renew your visa, you can even actually get your telephone connections. Everything is available online. With the same platform, you can actually book your container, clear it, get the customs clearance from it, as well as apply for a license, renew it, and then even export it with the click of a button. So you can avoid the bureaucracy or time to try to meet multiple entities and getting these policies. Everything is available on one single platform, which is unified and gives you that ease of clarity and business opportunity, so that you don't have to really waste much time and focus on your work. I mentioned earlier about the ecosystem and which has arisen here, but for the plastic industry specifically, there is a unique ecosystem that has developed over the years here, whereby not only can you send your goods from India to UAE because there is significant number of calls on a weekly basis, but also from the Dubai part all over the globe, we have more than 80 weekly services covering more than 150 countries. So you can make sure that your products not only reach on time, but there's also significant competition on the freight rates. So you can get the best pricing available. From the zone, as I highlighted also earlier, you have a lot of added value services, which you don't have to invest to, but we can partner with many other companies that can provide these services, whether from stuffing to packaging to labeling, or even actually logistics to do the warehousing on your behalf and clearing the goods. So these services are all available to you. You have the market access to more than 3 billion people from here. Well, this covers the Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia, all from here. So it will reduce your time to delivery. You can increase the visibility and hopefully increase your sales and delivery time as well. This is just a brief snapshot. I think I highlighted the area that India and India specifically have been one of our major partners in the UAE and Dubai. And the same thing also applies in jobs. I think almost 15% of the investors based here are Indians, and they have grown, as Abdullah highlighted before, from very small traders initially to one of the biggest, largest workforce, which has impact globally. And these are just some of the names that have started here on very small space, and today they cover more than 80 countries from here because of the infrastructure, the rules that support them, the safety, and as well the assurance that you have in terms of your investment and the security that your cargo can reach its destination on time and in the right cost-effective manner. Now, if we look a little bit more on what do we have and what capabilities are there in India, as you can see, we manage almost more than 6 port terminals in India, covering south and west and east of India mainly. And then we have a lot of infrastructure in between to support you deliver the goods from your location to these ports and then from these ports elsewhere around the world. These cover logistics, warehousing, rail, and cold storage facilities, and whatever else you need. So we are really investing more and more over the past very few years to make sure that we can address your connectivity requirements from India and then smooth your exporting experience so that you can sell more and hopefully grow your business from where you are. That's why between all these opportunities, I would say, between Dubai and India, we have created this India and UAE Bridge to look at the opportunities and how can we support people like yourself to grow your business, get through our capabilities and infrastructures on both sides, drive investment, increase cargo movement, and contribute eventually to the economies of both sides and removing these barriers that are in place today. So just an example here, I told you I wanted to highlight how can actually the connectivity between Dubai and India enable you to trade more and in a faster and more cost-effective manner. Today, I think we are connected from Jebel Ali port through 9 ports in India with 15 weekly services across 10 shipping lines. So it gives you that flexibility to choose whichever shipping line you need, more cost-effective manner, and in a timely manner, make sure that you can reach the products from India to Jebel Ali. And then from Jebel Ali, on the right side, you can see what are the services available and what connectivity you can do to cover a huge spectrum of countries, whether it's in the Middle East, Africa, or North or Southeast Asia, using land, air, and sea. And here I'm just highlighting some of the services we have in terms of sea and what's the connectivity you have. So you can see that you're excellently available to choose whichever lines you have, and the majority are connecting to all these countries, and it gives you the advantage and power to negotiate with whatever shipping line you need to get the best possible package. We have also initiated an incubation center only for the India's business people, such as yourself, which we subsidize the cost by more than 60%, so that you can actually set up a license if you need with an office and 2 visas, so that you can immediately start, send goods, and maybe try the UAE and Dubai experience in terms of setting up investment and trading from here, and getting actually having on the ground people to communicate with your customers, suppliers, and so forth, with no real cost in terms of customs duty, because there is no customs duty or VAT on an import for export reasons, and within the free zone jurisdiction that we manage today. I hope I was able to give you guys an overview on what the capabilities we have and how these capabilities can help you address the challenges you have today. And we look forward to hearing more from your side and what challenges and what opportunities can we work together so that we can help you grow your business to even higher levels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hamad. You have given very good detail about the opportunities the manufacturers have in terms of expanding their horizon. And in fact, I would like to inform our attendees that the stall of DP World is right in the lobby itself. You get into a PlastiWorld virtual exhibition platform. So the moment you get into the lobby, you will see that there is a DP World stall, and all the brochures, PowerPoint presentations, and also their videos are there. And you can also at any time in next 4 days or 5 days, you can interact with the people. And if there is anything, you can write to them. They will be eager to help you out. So thank you, Mr. Ahmad, for your address. May I now introduce to you our next speaker, Mr. Hemant Minocha. Mr. Hemant Minocha is the director and owner at Rajiv Plastics Private Limited, one of the leading manufacturers of master batches. He has presented technical papers in over 50 conferences and seminars in India and abroad in last 18 years. Also organized various conferences. He has more than 22 years of experience in plastic processing, troubleshooting, and sales. Mr. Minocha is also the Vice Chairman of Plex Council, that is Plastic Export Promotion Council. May I now request Mr. Hemant Minocha to give his address.
Thank you very much, Deepak ji, for the very kind introduction. I'll just quickly set up the presentation. Second. So before I start the presentation, I want to thank everyone for giving us the opportunity to speak. And I want to congratulate all the panel members for the wonderful work that they're doing. Thank you, Chandrakant Bhai and IPA, for having us as partners on this dais. But I want to start with a very short story that we've been hearing since we were kids. There was this frog. He used to live in this big pond. So one weekend he had a cousin who came in from outside, and this guy was bragging, "Oh, my pond is this big. It's the biggest in the whole wide world and everything." So the cousin who's come from outside says, "I think you have not seen the ocean." The frog from the pond says, "Okay, then let me show you." So all day they keep swimming, and then they reach the other end of the pond, and the frog from the pond says, "Is it as big?" So the cousin says, "No, I think you haven't been to the ocean." Still not convinced. The next weekend, both the frogs, they go to the ocean. And the frog from the pond realizes what he's been missing all his life. So my point here is that we need to look beyond our borders, beyond our oceans, and there's a whole wide world out there. And for that, if you need any help, Plex Council is there. So with much further ado, what I wanted to discuss was what is the current global scenario. I know Raju Bhai touched on that a little bit. What are the exports of plastics from India? The role of Plex Council, Plex Connect, government schemes, and what kind of member benefits do you get out of being a member of Plex Council? So we all know we are part of the plastics industry, and plastics is a global success story. From hardly anything to such huge sales of plastics in all countries across the world. And plastics has grown at about 8.4% per year, constantly since 1950. And plastics are primarily produced and consumed in China, North America, and Western Europe. Also, obviously, the Middle East, which is becoming a larger and larger source for all our polymer needs. So total global plastics export has been is currently at $1 trillion. And India only has a 1.2% share in the global plastics export. And we are lagging behind countries like China, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia. And it actually tells us the kind of potential that we currently have. We are 1.2%. Let's look at South Korea. Let's look at China. We can go as high as China, maybe go beyond. I've already talked about the world, talking about India, and then I will move on to what Plex Council is. So over the last decade, plastics exports have managed to grow annually at an annual growth rate of 7.6%. There was a little degrowth last year because of certain reasons, raw material availability. There was a glut of raw material available because new polymer plants had come up, and also a large portion of the local raw material being made was being consumed in India because India's production levels went up. So you'll see why the raw materials played such a big role. If you see in this slide, which has the 5 years analysis of product-wise product panel-wise exports, raw materials has the highest level of exports. So anything happens to the raw materials finally affects the overall exports of plastics. You can see it's almost 40% of the total exports. Again, here's a further analysis on the largest group of panel of exports. Raju Bhai and the others had also mentioned that 60% was value-added products and 40% was raw materials. So going by that, just raw materials alone here, when it saw a degrowth, it showed on the entire thing. In 2018-19, we had exports of almost $500 million, which continued with a further decrease. So the top 10 destinations where our material is going or our plastic goods are going. Number 1 is United States. After that comes China, UAE, UK, Germany, Italy, Bangladesh, Nepal, Turkey, and Netherlands. So we should look at the other countries also, which could be a very, very big potential for all our exports. And that's where we come in. That's where Plex Council comes in. We can be the big brothers who can be holding your hands and helping you move on to moving away from the pond that we are in to the ocean, which has so many potential customers. So what does Plex Council do for our manufacturers? The Plastics Export Promotion Council was established by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in 1955. And it has been working tirelessly with various stakeholders to boost the plastics exports from India. Our vision has been to make India a preferred global sourcing hub for plastics products. We are currently at 10 billion. Our focus is in the next 5 years, we want to reach 25 billion. And you all are going to be our partners for that. And how do we support you? We do cross-border promotion MOUs. We do skill development programs with leading universities, empanelment on district export promotion committees. We organize awareness programs. We've been doing so many in all the regions. We have offices all over the country. And we also connect global buyers with Indian exporters. We've been doing these buyer-seller meets, which are extremely successful. People have been able to get good customers. People have been able to get good suppliers. And offload, even in the during COVID times, we had these virtual buyer-seller meets, and they were extremely successful. We also assist in trade and financial support. Even small things like your certificate of origin, something like that, we can support you with that. This has been a new venture with us, the Plex Connect. What it is, it's a digital business booster. It's connecting the global plastics industry. So basically, it's a digital platform. It has all the latest trends in the plastic industry, the countryscape, um, the product insights. We help you with the export strategies, with trade leads. Our website also has trade leads, which we constantly keep putting up, and they're available to all the members. And since we are a government supported body, we have excellent research and statistics on what kind of exports are happening and what kind of imports are happening. What Plex Connect does basically, it has an e-magazine, it has a virtual B2B meeting platform, we conduct webinars. There's a mobile app which also helps you answer a lot of questions. Sometimes you're trying to reach, say, a government office and not able to get certain answers. So a lot of those answers are probably available on those on the mobile application. And we do a lot of mass campaigning also. Since we're a government-supported body, we can always share and pass on what are the new government schemes that are happening. Some of the schemes that we currently have been helping a lot of our members with are market access initiatives. It's by the Department of Commerce. There's advanced authorization for the advanced licenses. There's duty-free import authorization by DGFT. There's duty drawback. EPCG, you want to get some capital goods, we can help you with that. And then we have the status holder schemes, which help you when you are doing your documentation for imports or exports. The new the RODTEP that has come in, also we are constantly in touch with the government and advising them on how to go about it. The IES scheme, the authorized economic operator scheme, and then the gold card scheme, wherein you can get easy finance and very, very good control on your cash flows. Plex Council constantly is constantly in touch with a lot of organizations that hold the world's largest exports, and you can see the advantage when if you take part in an exhibition which is co-promoted by Plex Council, say like the K Show or the Arab Plus Show. We always have government subsidies which help you or subsidize your overall spending. We also have a Plex Council Virtual Expo. So if you are a member, we have this promotion going on. You have to just pay 11,500 and become a member. The benefits that you get are you get a membership certificate, you get an export performance certificate, and certificate of origins. I have mentioned to you for all your shipments. You can get it through us. You get discounted fees on international trade fairs and exhibitions. There's trade statistics and market intelligence that we share with our members. There's a monthly trade magazine, which is very, very informative and helpful to all our members. Obviously, the updates on the FTPs, FTAs, free trade agreements, and the customs and GST, and other new laws that come in for exporters and manufacturers. These are easily disseminated and usually disseminated very fast through the organization. And lastly, we have a new office here in Andheri, in Bombay, in Mumbai, and we'd like you to visit if you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Minocha, for your address, and also the way you have highlighted the services of Plex Council, and you have shared very relevant data with regard to exports. In fact, APMA has been collaborating and working with Plex Council very closely to bring a lot of benefits for the industry. So we value our partnership and our collaboration with Plex Council in bringing the right amount of help which is required for the industry to increase exports. So thank you, Mr. Minocha.
Thank you.
I would request Dr. Raju Desai to moderate the Q&A session and also the panel discussion. Raju bhai.
Sure. The questions are already listed in a chat box, or how does it go?
Yes, either it is listed in the chat box or it may have come to you directly on your WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This is sent by Siraj, huh?
Yes, yes, yes. So she has forwarded some questions to you. Maybe from the panel you can ask. Shiraz, can you?
Yes, sir.
The Q&A questions will be seen by Raju Bhai on his
I
chat
think
box.
Raju sir will get. Raju sir's got some questions on his chat box.
yeah, a chat box or a WhatsApp?
WhatsApp,
Both.
I have sent you some, and some are there on your chat box as well.
Okay, fine. The first question I think which I am looking at is that how can we use the Dubai as a distribution hub for rest of the world? I think this is for the DP world. If you can, Mr. Hamad or Mr. Abdullah, anybody can answer.
Yes, gentlemen, thank you for the question. And Dubai as a hub, definitely the connectivity that we have here in Dubai to different parts of the world and the efficiency brings value to our customer. So in terms of the lead time, this is very important. Getting the product fast and out to your customers is something that we can provide here in Dubai. Not only this, but we also run our own shipping line. So for short haulage connectivity that we can connect from India into Dubai and into the main lines for services in case for emergency. We also have availability of our own logistics in-house. So from end to end, as I mentioned, in India, we have a good presence, be it warehouse, be it locomotive infrastructure connecting into the ports, and we run 7 terminals there. So definitely, I mean, for any customer exploring how we can bring more value to them, we are happy to sit down and discuss and show them what can be done. I personally was in India meeting a lot of customers in different states, and by just speaking to them and trying to understand their supply chain, we were able to bring them a lot of value in terms of the cost, in terms of the time to connect to their cargo, in terms of opening new destination to grow their business into areas, be it in Africa, be it in Europe, or even in other parts of the world. So we are more than happy to engage with whoever interested to see what can be offered and give more tailor-suited solution to their requirement, whether from India through Jebel Ali and to the rest of the world, or from Jebel Ali itself, and take leverage from the 350 logistics companies available.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah, for your input. And the next question is from, do DP World offer any storage option in...
Praveen, you want to take this?
Sure. So yes, we've got ample storage options. In India, we've got 1.2 million square meter of warehousing, and we can support on your EXIM storage requirements as required. In Dubai, we have proposed both for exports, and this was an idea that Mr. Desai also mentioned when he was speaking about here. So we have proposed to AIPMA, and we are happy to take up that discussion with Plex Council as well. Themanji, if you want to look at a common user Indian warehousing facility in Dubai, where cargo can pre-positioned or pushed forward, and as and when it is sold, then from here you can export it out to various countries around the world. So in that context, your time saving would be anywhere between 10 days to 20 days, depending on where in India you manufacturing these goods. So yes, in Javza, our key business unit in Dubai, so we've got storage across Jebel Ali port and free zone. We've got quayside storages that we actually use for polymers today. So every polymer manufacturer in the Arabian Gulf of repute, does a very sizable amount of polymer storage in Jebel Ali, right? And a chunk of that is actually pushed into India on the imports. So with the Indian polymer consumption growing substantially, we are even happy to take up on your inbound side a demand concentration center in Jebel Ali for your polymer imports. And on the export side also, as I said, we can position. So in Javza, we've got, Abdullah has mentioned this a couple of times, we've got 350 logistics entities. DP World has our own logistics entity. All of these have more than 5 million square meter of warehousing facilities. And as I mentioned, we are happy to put in place a common user warehousing facility. We have got pre-built units, around 1,200 of these available, plug and play infrastructure, 1,200 warehouses available in Javza, size between 350 to 1,000 square meters. So there's ample storage, and we are happy to explore opportunities either ways to support your inbound raw material chain or outbound finished goods chain.
Wow, great, Mr. Ravin. I think very, very informative insight. And I think you are extending your hand to set up the warehouse. That is a very good move. I think like how you are offering office space like this, common warehouse also can accelerate the business in your region, I'm sure. I have one more question from my side. Do UAE have any special consideration for tariff as far as the export to US or other countries are concerned? Are you in a preferred list?
Unfortunately not. We are not a preferred tariff list for the United States.
Okay.
That being said, we have a FTA with the US under negotiation. And once that happens, should happen soon, hopefully, then there could be an opportunity for some value add to be done in the zone in Javza, get a made in UAE stamp, and then start exporting into these FTA countries as well, right? So we fundamentally still believe that the major chunk of the manufacturing will happen in India. The last mile kitting, the last mile packaging, the last mile labeling, and some additional portions of the processing chain, the manufacturing chain can be completed in Dubai, and then from here we can export it. So we have FTAs in place with a number of countries today, and we can share that information.
Yeah.
And at least for those markets, you can exploit it, in addition to the logistics benefits that we discussed.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Ravin. This is going to be great information to the manufacturer. Once they come to know about this, they can make use of it. And yes, and I think we are very serious about thinking beyond labeling and packaging. Okay, the Indian plastic processing industry is thinking beyond that, because plastic product cannot be labeled or this thing. Either it has to be manufactured and then shipped. That will be more thing. So,
Mr. Desai, if you look at the broader picture, raw material availability is ample because everyone's in the backyard, and they are using Jebel Ali port as a distribution point, or Javza as a distribution point for the polymer supply chain, right? In addition to that, there are no customs duty levied when we manufacture within the free zone. So that itself is a sizable saving, in addition to the availability of raw material availability adequately and reliably throughout the year, right? And when we look at power, it's more or less that these conversion machines are more, the power costs are similar to that we have in India, so not materially different, right? Labor, we're a little expensive, but we are well renowned for labor efficiencies. So over the last 2 years, the industrialists that Abdullah and I have met in India, they typically consider labor efficiency at 2 to 3x times that is prevailing in India. So there is a compelling value proposition for businesses, and we're happy to explore that.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it, Ravin. I agree with you. And one more question rather, that you have all the raw material in backyard. That is within all GCC country, there are more than sufficient raw material. So is there any special pricing between buyer within the GCC? Do they have preferential price? Like for Abu Dhabi to UAE, or from Saudi to UAE, or something like that?
But at the end of the day, they're all businesses. So pricing is at international norms today. It's a commodity, but the fact is that a reliable supply and on-demand availability can bring in benefits out there, right? And we are happy to look at buyer arrangements with the with the petrochemical majors who hub in Jebel Ali. We can give you names aplenty who have, I think we hub annually between 3 to 5 million metric ton of cargo or polymers in Jebel Ali, and this is hubbing or storage and distribution from here. And this is not the cargo that gets transshipped over Jebel Ali, right? That is over and above this. So our estimate is that 65 to 70% of all the polymers that gets manufactured in the Arabian Gulf and in Iran touches Jebel Ali port in one form or another.
Okay, that's great to know. And I was just inquiring whether within your GCC norms, the trade norms, like how we have in Asian countries and all, do you have any preferential treatment? But anyway, you can take it on offline. And then, so one more question is for the team here, that is there any difference in incentives between Jaffa and Jebel Ali, or it is same, or what for manufacturing unit?
Okay, Jebel Ali is the area, but Jafza is Jebel Ali free zone. So
Okay.
Jebel Ali consists of different economic zones. For example, we look after Jebel Ali free zone plus a national industrial park, which is not free zone. We have the industrial area in the same vicinity. So there's different economic zone within Jebel Ali area.
Okay, so this Jaffa is a part of Jebel Ali.
Yes.
Okay.
Make this a little simpler.
One more question. I'm sorry?
I was saying, to make it a little simpler, to put it in context, it's like Delhi, and then Jafza is a portion of Delhi.
Yeah, I got it. One more question is been asked, that the trade between Qatar market has opened yet, or?
Yes, as far as after the sign of the treaty in Saudi Arabia, the trade is open, the airline is open, everything is open with Qatar, and trade is for us business as usual. This is from the system-wise, customs-wise, borders-wise. So things are now back to where it was 3 years back.
Okay, I think these are the most of the question, and some of the questions are related to the tax benefit and things like that, I think, which you already, Mr. Hamad already answered in his presentation. So that is good enough. And anything from anyone? Just a minute. The question is that, does it help open market into Morocco via the Royal House? Does UAE have a consulting service to support interconnectivity into Tangier and the industrial free zone, industrial free trade zone? There's a question.
We don't have a direct presence in Morocco, but definitely we can see through our logistic capabilities what can be made available for support. Whoever is asking this question can write us directly. We have a good presence in over North Africa, in some areas. We also in Europe as well. So depending on what the requirement and the need, we will try to support. As far as the economic free zone in Morocco, we don't have any one at the moment, but definitely in the future, maybe if there is, we will definitely be able to support as well. But I would encourage whoever has asked this question to write to us directly and see where we can support them.
Okay, thank you very much. Any more questions from participant, Deepak ji?
Do you have some questions on your chat box? A couple of them? Picking up all the questions. In your chat box?
Nothing which I can see of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Raju. So I would like to thank Dr. Desai for moderating the Q&A session. Thank you, Raju Bhai. I think they're very relevant questions, and I think our panelists have answered it well. And if there are still some questions which we have not been able to take, or maybe it is there we are not able to see, our backend team will collate those questions and send it to the panelists. But we'll certainly make sure that the people who have asked questions, and if they have not been answered by any chance, we will definitely send a reply to them. So thank you, Raju Bhai, for moderating, and thank you all the panelists. May I now request Mr. Sunil Shah, Managing Committee member of IPMA and also member of the PlastiWorld Committee, to deliver vote of thanks.
Good evening, all of you. It has been a great honor to propose the word of thanks to all who helped us making this webinar such a resounding success. I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Mr. Abdul bin Damitha, a Chief Commercial Officer, DP World UAE region. Mr. Raju Desai, Director Jyoti Plastic, past President of AIPMA and NAB Chairman, PlastiVision 2023. And Mr. Hamad Al Saeed, Head Strategic Accounts, DP World UAE region, and our Mr. friend, Mr. Hemant Minocha, Director Rajiv Plastic Private Limited, for the excellent presentation and making this webinar interesting and meaningful. I would also like to thank our President, Mr. Chandrakant Bhai Turakia, and Sri Arvind Bhai Mehta, Chairman Governing Council, for the model support and guidance. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our wonderful attendees who have turned up in such a great numbers. Thank you so much for your cooperation, and good day and a good night and good morning, or whatever you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunil Bhai, for delivering vote of thanks. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the panelists. Dr. Raju Bhai, Arvind Bhai, thank you, President Chandrakant Bhai.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manocha ji.
And
thank you everyone for participating.
Hemant Minocha is a Vice Chairman of Plex Council.
Plex Council.
Yes.
And under the new team and the leadership of new Director General, they are doing exceptionally well. Very business friendly.
Yes.
So take advantage. Thank
you. Young and upcoming star.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
So
all.
is Hemant accessible now?
Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Yeah, very
accessible. Very accessible. Okay.
Yes.
We'll keep that.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.